Hi everyone, welcome to day one of Royal Ascot. As far as this video preview is concerned anyway, we're going to shake things up a little bit and look at a horse in focus each day this week. And the first horse we're going to talk about is Notable Speech, because he looks the key equine athlete on day one. And I'm joined by Matt Brocklebank and Andy McLaren to talk through this horse's chances, and they're going to give me one bet each on the rest of the card as well. So gents, Royal Ascot day one, let's get straight into it. Let's talk Notable Speech, because he is a key horse, Matt, on day one. He's an 11-8 favourite for the St James's Palace Stakes, and for punters and bookmakers, a lot could rest on this 2,000 guineas winner.
Yeah, he's made huge strides, hasn't he, this horse, in such a short space of time, and to be coming here talking about a potential superstar. I think we probably all agree that. I know that we might have slightly different views on how this race might pan out, and I think tactics are going to be fairly crucial in this race, but Notable Speech is a very worthy favourite. He's already achieved a huge amount in that short space of time, obviously winning those 3 races on the all-weather and then straight into the 2,000 guineas on his very first start on turf. And he came right up to scratch, beating one of last year's leading 2-year-olds in Rosalian fairly comfortably in the end. That form obviously already working out fairly well as well. So loads to like about Notable Speech in the right hands. It's a big one. It's a big one for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. They don't have a huge amount of Group 1 runners throughout Royal Ascot this week. So really important start for them as well.
137p. Notable Speech, yeah, and he's top of the shop on time form ratings. Do you think he deserves to be there?
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait to see what he can do on Tuesday. That's his adjusted rating you mentioned there. He's got a master rating of 125p. And like Matt said, I think we could be talking about a potential superstar here. For a horse to do what he did in the 2,000 guineas, having only made his debut in January and having his first run on the turf, it was an outstanding performance. He beat Rosalian, who was a Group 1 winning 2-year-old, and came out and won the Irish 2,000 guineas on his next start. Hartem in third. He was a close second behind his stablemate as well in the Irish guineas to give the form an even stronger look. Inisherin, he did his bit for the form. He was probably, in hindsight, running over a trip that stretched him a bit in the guineas, but he came out and did what he did over 6 furlongs at Haydock, and he's one of the favourites for the Commonwealth Cup now, so the form couldn't look any better. And the scary thing for his rivals is there could be more to come from him with such an inexperienced horse having his first race on the turf. This is only his second race on grass, so who knows where his ceiling is.
Let's have a look at a few video clues. Firstly, Kempton, and just talk us through this, Andy, and why he came on Timeform's radar before the 2,000 guineas after this performance.
Yeah, so this was just his third career start, a few spins on the all-weather, and it probably raised a few people's eyebrows when our ratings were published before the 2,000 guineas. We had Notable Speech, second top rated behind only City of Troy, which might, like I say, will have raised a few eyebrows, but that was because of what he did in the closing stages here. The bare form rating was only 109, but his closing sectionals were eye-popping, really, and that was worthy of a £10 sectional upgrade, which put him to a 119p, and it marked him out as a potential, just something out of the ordinary, something a bit different, and thankfully he went and proved that at Newmarket.
Well, that potential certainly came through, Matt, in the 2,000 guineas. It's definitely worth a watch, again with the St James's Palace Stakes in mind, because this day on the Rolling Mile he showed a swift turn of foot, didn't he, on the far side to put the Classic to bed in fine style. And how's this form worked out?
Yeah, it was that sparkling turn of foot as well, because he'd obviously just won the maiden and then the 2 conditions races at Kempton, and you did have to question whether he was going to translate that kind of performance. But to be able to do this on the sort of much stiffer Newmarket straight course there, the Rolling Mile, it was absolutely tremendous. Obviously, Rosalian was the one that was being talked up. Now, interestingly, Notable Speech was clearly fitter and race fit, wasn't he? He was race ready on the back of that all-weather campaign, and Rosalian hadn't had the run back, but as you can see, there's a good couple of lengths in between them, and he was just superior on the day. I think we're clearly looking at the best horse in the race here. Timeform will tell you that, and all 3 of us would probably agree with that. And I personally, for me, I think the switch from that Rolling Mile at Newmarket to Ascot's round course, providing we don't see one or two sort of major traffic problems, which we have witnessed in this race, the St James's Palace in recent seasons and way back. Providing we don't get too much traffic and trouble in running for Notable Speech, that turn of foot should really see him home at the end of the day at Ascot.
Well, I think I know which way this is going. He's 11-8 Notable Speech for the St James's Palace Stakes, Andy, but are you for or against those odds?
Very much for. I think we could be talking about a potential superstar here. And I was tempted by Rosallion earlier in the week, but the draws very much swayed things for me. Rosallion's got stall 1 right on the inside, and I think that could make things really tricky for him. If he's held up like he usually is, he's going to have to be ridden for a lot of luck and hope the gaps appear, whereas William Buick, I think he's in stall 5, he's a bit wider. I can see him taking the safe route round the outside. He might have to cover a bit more ground, but he should get a clear run down the outside. Use that turn of foot to sweep down there, while Rosallion might get a clear run, and if he does, he could get the dream run up the inside. But we've seen it in this race with things like Maljum. Was it last year or the year before? Where he just ran into a wall of horses and got no run. I think that could happen with Rosallion, so very much a Notable Speech camp.
And Matt, what say you?
Kind of got a foot in both camps. I'm not against him. Can I say that? I'm not against him. Yeah. He is the most likely winner. But the reason that's putting me off really kind of saying that he's an absolute banker is the Aidan O'Brien axis. 2 horses here that could really do some damage from a technical point of view. I think unquestionable. He's a talented horse, isn't he? Not too far behind Rosallion last year. Won the Breeders' Cup. He's had a couple of runs seemingly not quite up to their level so far this year. Perhaps he'll go out and make the running. And then Henry Longfellow. He's the primary reason really that I'm not wanting to back Notable Speech in this race. I do think Ryan Moore's going to have his tactics spot on for this, and if he can just sit on Unquestionable's shoulder, then the others could be in a spot of bother. Now, the one thing again that's putting me off backing Henry Longfellow is that I was half expecting last week that there would be plenty of rain around, a bit of juice in the ground. That would really help him, I think. I think he'd be better off over 10 furlongs. So I'm not fully with Notable Speech due to Henry Longfellow, but I'm not going to back him either because the ground is drying out. So it's a no-bet race, Scoop.
Well, I'm going to take that as 2 for Notable Speech. Okay, but I'm gonna go against him. I just think that when he won the 2,000 guineas, he probably went in there the fittest horse in the race after being campaigned on the all-weather earlier in the season. Rosallion went in there without a run. I think Richard Hannon's horse could reverse this form. I get your concerns about the draw, but it's a small field. I think Sean Levy will be alive to the fact that he's got to get in a good position. And when you look back at that Ascot form last season, and he just could be an Ascot horse. And
for me, that
you like him.
He didn't improve a huge amount, did he? I get your thinking, but from Newmarket to the Curragh, did he improve on that performance fitness-wise? I'm not sure.
Probably not so much, but I think he could improve for going round a bend at Ascot. I really do. On proper fast ground as well, which it looks like we're going to get, and I think that's key to Rosallion's chance. So 2 say yes for Notable Speech in the St James's Palace, and I'm going to go with Rosallion. That is one of the features on day 1 of Royal Ascot. It's a fantastic card, and we're going to end the show with just a bet from each of you elsewhere on day 1 at Royal Ascot. Andy, I'm going to come to you first. What is your selection?
I'm going for the King Charles III Stakes, I believe it's called now, and I'm going for a horse who's having his 3rd go at this race, and I think he's going to make a 3rd time lucky, and that's Twilight Calls for Henry Candy and Ryan Moore. This horse ran last time in the Palace House Stakes at Newmarket, which is a form line I'm going to be following closely this week. It's worked out really well. They finished in a bit of a heap that day, so initially you were thinking, what's this worth? But since then, Mick Barhy's came out and won a Group 2. Kurdos, who I know you like, has came out and won a Group 2 since as well. Twilight Calls ended up finishing ahead of them, but I think he was the horse to take out of the race as well. He was slowly away under Ryan Moore before he absolutely rattled home to take 4th. And I just think this is a horse who is absolute optimum conditions for me, are a well-run race on fast ground, on Ascot, stiff finish to help him close down on the front runners, which he's going to get here. He came 2nd in this race 2 years ago, 4th in this race last year, and I'm hoping he can make it 3rd time lucky on Tuesday. He's a double figure price. I think there's about 12-1 available for him. I'd be very surprised if he finishes out the frame, and I think he'll go very close to winning.
He is indeed. I do like Kurdos. I've been banging his drum for a while now, and I do think it could be set up lovely for him. A nice.
How many points have we got on Kurdos?
We've got 4 points on him, 2 points each way. And there was a podcast point as well. So we're racking up the points on him and the pounds, but hopefully he can run well for Clive Cox, who knows exactly what is required to win this race. Matt, what is your bet of the day on day one of Royal Ascot, please?
Yeah, it's an open race, that big sprint. I'd be with you looking at some value in that as well. But my best bet, I'm going into one of the handicaps. I'm going with Tritonic, another a horse coming back for another crack at a race that he was placed in
Old Tritonic.
Last season. Yeah, the old warrior Tritonic. He's been around a bit now. He was obviously a 3-time hurdle winner. He won over fences last winter as well. Really versatile, likeable horse, but gets into the Ascot Stakes off a good mark. He's not raced off a mark as low as 95 for a fair few years now, and he was actually placed in this race off £5 higher last year. So I think he's been overlooked a little bit in the betting. Comes into it in good heart on the back of a couple of good runs on the all-weather. Alan King is fantastic at teeing them up for this meeting. Has a good record at Ascot over the years. So Tritonic, possibly each way at the prices. So hopefully he goes well anyway.
Great stuff. Twilight Calls for Andy in the King Charles III Stakes, and Tritonic for Matt in the Ascot Stakes. That is day one wrapped up. Hopefully you'll join us again for days 2, 3, 4 and 5. See you then.